Hey everybody, it's Kevin here, and I'm here with my son Jack. And Jack, can you say hi?
Hi.
And we're making a video about my yard. Oftentimes, you don't really see me so much on my videos because I'm the cameraman and editor for the Let's Find Out series. But for this video, I'm taking you around my house and my yard to kind of show you what we have. Hey Jack, what's your favorite fruit that we're growing here? What's your favorite fruit to eat?
Pomegranates.
Pomegranates? All right. What do you like, the Pohas?
Yes, I do.
Do you like the mangoes? All right. So pomegranates is your favorite? All right. Hopefully we'll be getting some pomegranates soon, so that Jack will have some pomegranates to eat.
But don't forget what I told you. Those things when we take a bicycle. When we stop at the pomegranates, what did we see next?
Yeah, what did we see next?
Some more yummy thing. Wait, Daddy, but I didn't know what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Daddy, what did we stop at?
We saw pomegranates. Oh, figs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we saw figs on our walk today. And we will have figs soon, in probably about a month. The figs are starting to grow now. Do you like eating figs, Jack? All right. Well, only the good figs, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, stay tuned with us as we walk around the yard and I give you a tour of what we're growing here at the Hayakawa House. Yeah. So, starting off in the front yard, and one of the things you'll notice about my yard is that I try to utilize all the space. So fruit trees wherever possible, and then underneath the fruit trees I try to plant vegetables, leafy greens, onions, tubers, whatever I can get in there, sweet potatoes. Just try to use the entire property as much as I can. Okay, this first one is the Japanese raisin tree. It's deciduous in the wintertime, so the leaves fall off. And it's a pretty young tree. I've only had it in the ground for maybe 6 months. And this spring I got a new flush of leaves. The fun thing about the Japanese raisin tree, as you've probably seen in some of our Let's Find Out videos, is that you can eat the swollen bark, if you will, or I guess it's the new ends of the limb. And when you eat it, it has a flavor that's very reminiscent of raisins. So this is a fun one that I have in the yard, and I hear it's going to get big, so it's got some space. Moving back behind here, as you'll see in more in this video, is a Surinam Cherry. I love the Surinam Cherry. It is not a very big fruit, about the size of a standard cherry, not related, but it just has a really good taste. I enjoy it. I can eat hundreds of them, and I'm hoping this is a red Surinam cherry because most of my Surinam cherries are the black variety. Switching gears over here, we've got Brussels sprouts growing. Right now they're above, well, not really above, but kind of at the same height as my lychee tree right here. And the lychee is maybe about a foot taller, and hopefully will get much bigger soon. But I love lychee fruit, longans, all of that. So I'm hoping for good things with this lychee fruit. Once I bought it, it already popped up probably about 6 inches of new growth. So I think it likes its location, and hoping for fruit before probably the next 10 years. They are pretty slow growing, and they do take a while to fruit. So, but once they get going, it's just a phenomenal tree. Right next to it, and I have been told by multiple people that it was a bad idea to put a tree that close, but you know, Dave Wilson Nursery, they claim that you can put 4 trees in the same hole. So I've placed 2 trees in the same hole, and I don't know if you can really see that too well. It's right here. That's my tree trompe Longan. I don't know much about that variety except that it has kind of a low growing habit. It doesn't shoot up like the Kohala, so hopefully that will occupy the understory, and my lychee will get nice and tall above and around it. All over here we've got, I kind of just toss seeds out, and I'm always surprised what pops up. But if I can get in here nice and close for you, we got a pumpkin already. That's a big pumpkin, the size of a bowling ball. And we pan over here, another one. And we got pumpkin growing throughout the garden. There's some watermelon as well. This tree right here, if you can kind of see it growing out from the Cape gooseberry or the Poha bush, is an apple. And I brought that from my previous home in Irvine. So this is kind of a, not really grapefruit, but brings memories of my last home, and when I was a kid, about the only fruit tree that I had. Growing throughout the yard here are these Poha berries, and this is actually like a weed. I basically bought this tree, just a small little seedling, maybe 3 years ago, and just from tossing out fruit, you know, like half-eaten fruit, I have now Poha berry all over my yard, or Cape gooseberry as it's known. It produces a little golden yellow berry. You can actually buy this in the grocery store now. I've seen it sold as golden berries, and they're pretty good tasting fruit. My kids and my wife love them. Okay, so we have the Poha gooseberry here, and Poha is the Hawaiian name. Cape gooseberry is what it's known in English. I'm gonna go ahead and taste that for you. This isn't super ripe. They usually get bright yellow, but yeah, whatever. Tart right up off the bat. Very juicy, almost raspberry, coconut tones. Kind of raspberry cherry tomato with some coconut. That's what I'm tasting. So growing throughout the Pohas, I have trees. Many of them are very small, and if I didn't point them out, you'd probably walk right past it and not even see it. But this foot-tall little tree is in the Canistel family, or related to the Canistel or the yellow Sapote. This is, boys and girls, the Ross Sapote. From what I understand, it is the best tasting of the Canistel related fruits. We'll find out maybe in 10 years when this thing is big enough and producing fruit. So far though, lots of leaves come out last couple years, and it's been a hardy little plant. Just a few feet away from it is one of my Canistels. This Canistel was purchased from Florida, and I believe this is the Trompo variety. So it's about 3 feet tall now, and I think I had flowers last year on it, but I don't see any yet, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. And then panning over here, we have another Canistel, and this is about the same height, not quite as branched out, but still a nice specimen. And this is the Bruce variety, and I believe I got this from Roger Meyer, from his home. Yeah, so this is kind of my little Canistel patch, I guess, if you will, next to my lychees and my longans and my apples and my pumpkins and all the other things growing over here. But I'll go ahead and pan for you so you can kind of see the overview. And yeah, hopefully I'll have myself some Canistels in the next 5-10 years. This next tree right here is a Starfruit, and this is a Kari variety, and I got this one in from Florida, from toptropicals.com. And after I bought it, it fruited, gave me some fruit, not a lot, but the fruit was delicious, very sweet, not very large, but very sweet. And then all the leaves fell off, and I didn't have any growth on it for about a year or so. And just this season it started flushing out again, so hoping for fruit. Next up, we've got the blackberries. I think this is triple crown, and I don't mind them actually red. They're kind of tart, but ideally you want to pick them when they're this color, and so good. Those are once again kind of as an understory throughout the front yard here. I just grow them close to the ground, kind of like a ground. Next tree is a Jaboticaba, or tree grape, as some people know it, I guess. The fruit grows along the trunk here, and when it flowers, there's flowers all up and down the trunk, and it's a very slow fruiting tree. I expect at least a decade, 8 to 10 years waiting, and this tree is probably, if I had to guess, 3 to 4 years old. And this variety is the Crown 1 Jaboticaba, and I got that from Champa's Nursery in El Monte. The rest of the Jaboticaba that I have, and I'll try and scan down the line there, which was going to be my Jaboticaba hedge, but it has not really filled out yet. The rest are Sabra, which is the common variety of Jaboticaba. Here's the tag for those, and they were all purchased from Champa's as well, Champa's Nursery. And I do realize that some of you who are watching probably thinking, man, Kev, you need to put some iron on those trees. Yep, you're right. I need to get some iron, chelated iron for my trees. But it's been super busy this summer already with my kids, so I just haven't had the time yet. And we'll definitely get some chelated iron and pour that on, along with a kelp foliar feed that I need to do as well. It's just about that time. The next thing that we have on our list here are all these strawberry plants. I've got tons and tons of strawberry plants growing around the yard, and they pretty much just send runners out and propagate themselves. And now I've got strawberries everywhere, and they haven't fruited a whole lot, but I like the way they look, and so I just let them keep going. It's better than the weeds that I have. Everywhere are these loquat seedlings. We eat a lot of loquats, and with the seeds, I just, as I said before, I just kind of toss them back into the yard, and when they get 2-3 feet tall, I pull them up, and I try to graft. I'm not great at it, but I try to graft a couple of them. Most of them I've just planted at our orchard and let the students of Leaf name them, and hopefully we'll get some decent fruit off some of them. What we're going to discuss is the Calabura Muntigua, or strawberry tree, also known as the Jamaican cherry tree, and I believe it's named strawberry tree because of these beautiful shaped flowers. They just look like exactly like a strawberry flower, and then they produce these tiny little fruit, and that's a green obviously, but they're ripe when they turn red. Here's some more for you, some green ones. I don't know if I have any mature fruit on this tree. I don't think I do, but I bought it as a seedling from Florida, and within 2 years it's gotten pretty gigantic. I've topped it a couple of times, and it's starting to produce a nice crown, but the fruit to me tastes a lot like to me it's like just like fruity pebbles. Other people have said gummy bears. I've heard cotton candy, and my neighbor thinks it tastes like chocolate, so go figure. But like many will tell you, it is a very small fruit, and you don't really get much out of it. I actually even spit the skin out. Sometimes the skin's not too good, but by itself it's a cool little fruit, and a lot of people comment very nice comments about the way the tree looks, and has a beautiful white bark, and just very nice set of leaves. leaves never fall off, so just a nice tree year round. And it does get, it's gotten, you know, relatively big quickly, so a nice tree for the front yard. Right, these are my 3 mango trees in the front yard. I've got Valencia Pride right there, and the small one in the back is Namdakmai, and this is Sunset Mango. And I got the Valencia Pride from Flowerdale Nursery in orange. The Namdakmai came from Green Mart in orange, and the Sunset came from Roger Meyer in his home in Fountain Valley. And the Sunset, I have yet to taste the fruit on it, but Roger spoke highly of it, so it must be pretty good. But got some decent sized fruit growing here, so as long as my kids don't pick them, I'm hoping that we get to taste that one this year. And my Valencia Pride aborted most of the fruit last year. I did get one small one off of it, so there's a lot more fruit this year, and I'm hoping that that we get to try a full-size one. And then for my Namdakmai, same thing. Not a lot of fruit. There's a few pieces, and it'll just, I think, depend on whether my kids get to them before I do. And I know some of you will probably say, wow, that tree is really small. And it is a condo mango, a mango tree that doesn't get very big. It's a dwarf tree, from what I understand. And I tried topping it and removing the first fruit spikes that came out this year in order to promote more branches and more leaf growth, but they kept on sending fruit spikes after that, so I decided to just let it go. So there's that. Alright, scattered amongst my kids' toys, we've got peppers growing, and we got some more squash of some sort, whether it be zucchini or pumpkin, and all these beautiful tomatoes. Like I said, I just try and squeeze as much into this property as I can, and anything that comes out is usually tasting pretty good. I love the way fresh tomatoes taste. The smell that gets on your hands as you pick them, and just beautiful fruit. And I use that for pasta or BLTs or anything that we can make. I just love fresh tomatoes. So definitely try and work in some veggies into your yard under your fruit trees, and save some money at the grocery store. This beautiful tomato came up all by itself. I'm guessing from a fruit that dropped last year. I did not plant this. I just threw some tomato cages on it, and it just got huge. And we've already pulled off probably 10 tomatoes, and probably have 3 times that right now on the vine. So definitely plant some veggies. Right, this next one, we got Poha already growing up through it because there's so much Poha in this yard. But this is lemongrass, and I just cut this back. I basically just use my hedge trimmers and cut this all the way back at least 2 or 3 times a year, and then it just explodes with new growth. And I guess you use the stalk, although I have not used it yet, but it does smell beautiful. Lemon, obviously, for the lemongrass, right? So, but it's a kind of a pretty shrub. Right now it's a little wild looking, and it does need a haircut, so that's what my lemongrass looks like. And then scanning over here, you'll see tons of pohas, peppers underneath my my heart starfruit. And this starfruit I purchased at Champa Nursery, so I'm guessing it came from Florida. But pretty good size tree. It hasn't given me any fruit yet, although I did notice some flowers the other day. So it's about 2 years old, and last year I had saw a tip online in order to make the starfruit fuller, that you should go into some of these smaller branches and just crack them, and you're kind of hearing trying to feel a little pop on it. And by doing that, it creates, I guess, little fractures inside the branch, and it will actually send out new branches every place that you just crack. And I did that over the whole tree, and I didn't get any flowers after I did that. But the tree did fill out significantly more. It's not as skinny as it used to be. It is filled out a lot. So I'm hoping that with all these all this leaf production, that I get a heavier crop this year or next. And I think this fruits in the fall, if I recall correctly. The starfruit is one of our favorite of the family, and our neighbors love it as well. So there is my heart starfruit. I wanted to talk about this plant that's kind of being overtaken by the pohas and the tomatoes. But it produces these lovely little flowers, and they smell so good. And from what I understand, this is a tea plant, or a night blooming jasmine, I think is what they called it. But you can use the leaves like tea. But oh, that fragrance of that flower is unreal. It's like perfume. It's very strong, and they're pretty easy to propagate. I've just taken clippings of the stems and placed a rooting agent on them and planted them around the house, and not all of them have taken, but probably at least 2/3. So that's a fun one if you're looking for something that grows slow, low to the ground, doesn't get big, and has just unreal smelling blooms that you can use the leaves for tea. Okay. Next one is my Pindo Palm, and I got this from Home Depot right there. And these are also known as jelly palms, and I love the fruit on this. Green Mart Nursery has some Pindo Palms growing around the edges, and the owner Dawson had told me that I could eat from that tree when it was still in operation. And I would leave the Pindo Palm fruit in my truck over like 24 hours and let them kind of just warm up in the truck, and then I would eat them while I drove. And the flesh ratio against the seed, not very much. In fact, mostly seed, but just unreal taste. Pina colada, pineapple notes, peach notes, coconut notes, just unreal, delicious fruit. And he was so kind. I would just take huge, like whole bunches of fruit, because I guess he wasn't eating them. But I definitely enjoyed them, and those trees have not fruited this year yet, so I'm not sure if the new owners of that property are actually watering. But I finally got my own jelly palm, and looking for a place to plant this now, because they do grow extremely slow. I've had friends tell me that this tree is probably 7 to 10 years old, and so that's good. It was pretty affordable too at Home Depot. I saw it for like $79 I think is what I paid for it. So nice big tree, and the fruit is absolutely delicious. Okay, this next one is Nasturtium. I was looking for a flower that was edible, and this is edible. You can eat the flowers, and you can also eat these little pods that kind of produce around the runners that are sent out, and these taste a lot like wasabi. So Nasturtium is an edible flower, and it comes, it kind of dies back in the fall and the winter time, but then sends out beautiful new growth in the spring. And here it is, Nasturtium. And I've seen yellow flowers before, orange. I think I've even seen red flowers. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. This next tree is my peanut butter fruit, and the taste, not quite peanut butter tasting, but the texture is very peanut buttery, if you will. But I got this seedling tree from Roger Meyer's yard, and I think it was the last one they had when I bought it. It's grown relatively well in the last 2 years. It's probably about 6'5" now, but it is flowering at the moment. So I'm hoping that some of these flowers get pollinated so that I can get my first fruit off of it. There's the peanut butter fruit tree, and I will definitely be propagating this tree when I start getting fruit, because it's not a lot of people have it, and I love peanut butter, and so definitely gonna want to raise some more of these trees. Well, there's a extended view for you. All right, this is my my first longan tree that I got, and this is a Kohala longan, and I think it may be a seedling because I have not gotten any fruit off of it yet, and I've thought about axing it, but honestly I love longan, so I don't mind waiting for it. It is a beautiful tree, and I've topped it probably 3 times in order to let it branch out more, but right now it's probably standing at about 9-10 feet, and just a really nice tree, hoping for fruit, and probably give it another 5 years. All right, I'm standing now in the middle of one of my favorite trees. This is my wax jambu, and when I first tasted the fruit at Upland Nursery, one of the workers there let me try it, and it was just delicious. I fell in love with the fruit right away. Crunchy, sweet, refreshing. It was hot in the middle of summer when I had tried it, and it was just so good. I really wish they sold these at the grocery store, because I would eat a lot more. This tree has gotten pretty big in the last 3 years, and I just keep on topping it, keeping it at like 8 to 9 feet tall. One of the things that I love about this tree is that the leaves, you crush them in your hands and you smell them, and it smells just like the fruit tastes, I guess. I wouldn't know though, because I have not gotten any fruit on this tree. I think this might be a seedling as well. I did get this tree from, I bought it from Shirley Meyer, and I'm not sure if it's a grafted tree or not, but the leaves smell good. It's a beautiful tree. When the Santa Ana winds blow through here, it takes most of the leaves off, but they do grow back in the springtime heavily and lush, and the leaves smell so good. I can't wait for fruit. This was originally tagged as a red wax jambu, but I know that there are white varieties. There's the black diamond, which is kind of like a dark red purple color, and there's a Thai jumbo, which is I think it's green. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's green. But oh, those leaves smell so good. So if you're looking for a big tree and you want some shade and you want a delicious fruit, wax jambu, might want to check that one out. I would get a grafted tree with flowers on it, so that you aren't finding yourself waiting as long as I am. All right, underneath my wax jambu tree, I've got a ton of onions. We have a club member, part of the Orange County, California Rare Fruit Growers, who orders onions every year for us, and so I started planting onions underneath my fruit trees, and now I have a steady supply of onions for all of my meals, and we just come out here. My kids get a kick out of picking the onions, and we don't have to buy onions at the grocery store anymore, because we always have ripe onions. So do yourself a favor and plant some onions, and you too will also have more onions than you know what to do with. Here's another lychee tree that I have growing in my front yard, and kind of regret putting one in the front yard. I've heard friends tell me that people come by at night and steal their lychees. This one has yet to fruit. It's flowered a few times, but have not gotten any fruit off of it. I purchased this lychee from Green Mart Nursery in Orange, and there you go. Delicious fruit. I can't wait for fruit, but I'm sure it'll need to get much bigger before I actually do get fruit. It has been growing pretty steadily, anywhere from probably 8 to 10 inches of new growth this year alone. So hopefully we will get fruit. Something that I've been doing a lot of is planting pineapple around my yard. Sugarloaf pineapple, white pineapple. I even take the ones that we buy from Costco and cut the tops off and just plant the stem inside the ground, and most of them take. So pineapple. It's a good understory plant to plant, although I think they do tend to enjoy the full sun a little better. So think about it while you're planting. We've got probably about 10 pineapple plants around the house, and this is what pineapple looks like in the ground. All right, this next tree is the June plum, and I also got this at Green Mart, I believe. It produces these I don't know, golf ball sized green fruit, and I liken the fruit to tasting like kind of like a green apple with like a pine tree note to it, a piney taste. I'm not a huge fan of this tree. I prefer letting them ripen, and when they ripen they kind of get a yellow tinge, kind of like this one, and they taste kind of like a very fibrous mango, but once again, there's not a lot of fruit on, or not a lot of flesh on this, and the taste is not great. It's a deciduous tree. It loses its leaves in the wintertime, and this year it's been really late to start flushing again. As you can see, it's been really late to flush this year. As you can see by the new growth, this just started about a week or two ago, and it's a decently pretty tree, and it's a very small tree. It growth rate is slow, but my Vietnamese mail lady really likes it, and I let her take as much fruit as she wants because my family just doesn't care for it all that much. So this is the June plum. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and try that June plum for you. I picked one of the more yellow fruit, so hopefully it'll taste kind of like a mango, but all right, so it's really hard. Yeah, Granny Smith apple, very tart. I don't know, maybe like a green mango, which I'm not a fan of, so it's hard to get down. I'm not a big fan of Granny Smith apples either. So I also hear that the seed is kind of spiny inside, but there's not a lot of flesh. There's a big seed inside. I don't know if you can see the seed. It's kind of got hairs coming off of it. Honestly, I take 2 bites of this and I don't want it anymore. This is not good. So I'll probably be pulling out this tree and giving it to a friend or something. But check it out, June plum. If you like Granny Smith apples, it's a tree for you, because it will produce a lot of fruit, and even when the leaves fall off, the fruit stays on. And to get to that yellow state, it kind of takes almost a year, at least in my yard it does, and it's getting full sun. So, you know, if that's something you're into, go for it. But I don't know, I don't have a lot of real estate here, and I love fruit trees, so this might be coming out and something else a little better tasting will be going in.